Yes, hello and welcome everybody to another episode of B&B's Football Happy Hour. I am Bobby and am always, as always, joined with my man Brian.
What's going on? Glad to be back for episode number 50. Kind of
Uh,
hit another milestone, so that's a good thing. I guess we keep doing it, so I guess it's a good thing.
Well, first off, I want to apologize to all of us out there if I am hacking up a lung. The pollen is in full force down here in North Carolina. I mean, it is all over the streets, all over the cars. I mean, you wash your car, and by the time you get home, it is completely yellow. So these allergies are really getting to me last couple of days. So I'll try to hold it together for you.
All right. Yeah, I went out there and looked at my white truck earlier this morning, and it looked like somebody blew chalk all over it, yellow chalk all over it. It was pretty bad, pretty rough. You kind of need it's like you need an ice scraper for the pollen down here. You don't need it for ice, but you might need it for pollen.
And I know you're from up north too. You're from Jersey. I'm from Maryland. I have never seen pollen anywhere like down here. It is wild. It's something else.
Yeah, it's definitely it's different down here. I don't know. It killed me. When I was in college, I had never had allergies, and then once I came down here to go to school, I think my first year down here, it hit me like a ton of bricks. So I've been taking allergy medicine ever since then. So it's tough down here.
It's sunny. It's 80 degrees. It's kind of tough to complain.
Yeah, I guess that's the only complaint. The weather has been nice, so pollen's killer.
More importantly, it is draft season. We have about a month before the NFL draft. And for the next few weeks, we are going to be talking about the draft prospects that we anticipate getting drafted. Now, I got to tell you, there are, upwards of, if you talk to the big time analysts out there, they are doing research and they know up to 400 draft eligible guys coming out. Listen, that would be great, but
yeah,
that's not me. I tell you, honestly, I know 50 to 60 guys really well. I know another dozen or so after that kind of well. And then I probably know of a few dozen more. But I can tell you just about anybody going in this first round, unless we get some crazy surprise like the Raiders try to do with us all the time, I'm going to know who's out there and what this first round is going to look like. So we'll be good to go. Any of our listeners out there that aren't too familiar with the top 50, top 60 guys, don't worry about it. We got that all taken care of.
Yeah, I mean it's really 400 is kind of stretching it, but I don't have that kind of time on my hands. My day job's a little too demanding for me to know 400 college football players. But yeah, like you said, 50, 60, 75 guys. I know the names probably at the top 100, but I'm not going to do a whole breakdown of 100 guys. Nobody really needs to know a third and fourth round pick. They can look it up themselves. So the first and second round guys are the guys that are going to be, making huge impacts, I think, this year. So we'll stick with those guys.
That's right. Now it is very time consuming, but I do love doing it. I love watching film on these guys from this past season or the season before. We have some opt outs and watching these guys, not just their highlight films. I do my best to stay away from those. If anything, highlight films sometimes turn me off on a player. We'll talk about that probably next episode. I have a big name that's coming out this year in a running back position that turned me off watching his highlight film. But watching game films play to play, watching guys when they get burned, if they're a defensive back or a linebacker, or if a running back misses a block and pass, bro. I like catching those plays to really see what we got in a player. But anyway, today we're going to be breaking down the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, and the tight ends. So some very big names, very famous guys you heard of. And this is going to be fun, man. Before we get to it, though, make sure you check out our folks over at Diaper Dust, www.thediaperdust.com, on Amazon, on Facebook and Instagram. Anybody with a kid in diapers, you need this product, so check it out. Baby showers, all that great stuff. And as always, our beats are by Dunson. You ready to roll, my friend?
Yeah, let's roll into the QBs.
You want to go ahead and bring out the big boy?
Yeah, to no surprise, the first QB taken off the board is going to be Obviously, Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. I don't think Urban Meyer's going to throw a curveball in there. I think Lawrence is going to be his guy, and I think this kid's been the number one pick probably since 2018, since he won the national championship. So,
Dude, I was going to say 2017 was his senior in high school.
Yeah. I mean, he's been anointed like the guy. Like he's been like the LeBron of the, you know what I'm saying? Like he's been that golden child for the last, like you said, since 2017, at least 4 years. So
I have 5 words that I use to describe this quarterback class.
okay.
Trevor Lawrence and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's exactly what it is. I watched this guy. I watched him in high school down in Georgia, and he did a quarterback competition with Trent Dilfer and the best high school quarterbacks across the country. And I remember watching this guy on TV, watching him perform, and I mean, he had it back then, but he walked around, and I just thought he looked so smug. And I was like, man, I can't wait. This guy's going to get to a big name college in a big conference, ACC Clemson, and he is going to get smacked around all over the field. And he's gonna eat a big slice of humble pie. Okay, well, I am the one crushing that humble pie. And then I hear him in an interview and he's thanking God. He's doesn't even have a girlfriend. He's, all about his family. And I really read this guy wrong watching him on TV. He is a fantastic person. And I think my favorite thing about him is that he is always trying to learn. So when he's working with a coach or a trainer or something, he's asking questions. He is not one of those, oh, I got this, I'm the best quarterback in all the land. He's a Peyton Manning. He's a Tom Brady. He's trying to get better every single day. He's not resting on his laurels. And that alone is really going to help make him one of the great ones, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think this kid's, like you say, he's above the other quarterbacks in this draft class. And I mean, the kid's a winner. Like you said, man, he's just won. I mean, I know he's lost. Well, I think he lost 2 games at Clemson. I mean, some big games, but I mean, you can't win a national championship every year. So, but man, he put up some big numbers on a good team, and he played against tough competition and he looked good in those games. And it's hard to root against this kid because, like you said, I mean, he seems like a good kid. He says all the right stuff. So, he's definitely worthy of the number 1 pick. I don't think, he's not going to have any off the field issues. I don't think they would need to worry about him or character problems. Like you said, he's going to go in there and work hard. And I'm kind of excited to see what he's going to do with Urban Meyer in the NFL. So to me, that's a pretty interesting combo heading into the NFL with the first-year coach and a guy coming from college, Urban Meyer, and to see how he adapts to the NFL. And, he's definitely going to get probably the most highly touted QB
since Andrew Luck.
Since Andrew Luck, yeah.
And he even looks
good thing to have,
6'6", almost 220 pounds. Mm-hmm. I mean, this dude, he's big, he's strong, he can make every single throw.
He makes all the throws. It makes it look easy.
It's great.
Yeah, he can make all the throws. And he can run, not to cut you off, but yeah, I mean, people say like, man, he looks like if you watch a lot of their games, I mean, people think like, oh, he's a tall kid, he's 6'6", he's just a pocket passer. But I mean, this kid runs around. If you watch the games, I mean, this kid's running probably, I mean, upwards of 10 times a game. I mean, in college, I don't think he'll do that in the NFL, but and he's a more than capable runner as well. He can move around a little bit. He's pretty quick.
But it's his last resort.
Yeah, it's his last resort. He's not looking to run, but he can. And
that's right.
He's not going to run. I don't think he ran a 4.4 or whatever like that, like Fields and some of these other guys. But I mean, he doesn't need to because he's not really looking to be that kind of QB, and that option is there. So, I mean, it's just another plus, another feather in his cap, I think, to his overall game.
Now, you mentioned that, he's a winner, and you're right. He has won at every level. Well, he's going to have to get used to losing a little bit going there to Jacksonville. But here's another thing. Let me ask you, is there anything Trevor Lawrence could have done to hurt his draft stock? I mean, not counting some, stupid night out, drinking off. Right. Is there anything like, did he have anything to prove at a pro day?
Not really. I mean, nobody really does. I mean, it's nice to see people in person at the pro days, but
if Trevor Lawrence comes out and says, you know what, I'm good to go. You can watch my game film. I'm not going to throw at my pro day. Yeah. Would that have affected him at all?
No, not at all.
No, but he's out there working out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So he's a competitor. He wants to throw.
Exactly. Another thing I love about him and why he's going to be great, because you got guys like Devontae Smith, which we'll talk about later, who decides, no, I'm not running routes. I'm not even going to weigh myself or get my height checked. Come on, dude. Again, we'll talk about him, but just another plus Trevor Lawrence's column. And I tell you what, though, I do know a negative about him.
What's that?
Old Trent Dilfer. I was listening to him on a podcast with Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks. Apparently, his only flaw, and this is something that I never caught in my film, but I mean, come on now. He's a little too tight in the torso. So his lack of flexibility while rotating into his throws causes some of his balls to get away from him when he's really trying to fire passes down the field.
Mm-hmm.
That is literally the only thing that I have found or heard or seen wrong with him is he's a little unflexible in the torso. That's something that can be fixed and worked on. So,
yeah.
I mean, good for you, Jacksonville.
Because Trent Dilfer was so flexible and bomb the ball down the field. So
hey, listen, he can coach it though. He sees it. You know, you don't have to be a great player to
coach it.
know a great player when you see one.
Yeah.
Next on our list, I'm going to bring up one of my favorite guy after Trevor Lawrence, and that is the guy who is definitely going to go number 2, Zach Wilson from BYU. 6'2", 6'3", 210 pounds. He's accurate. He's got way above average mobility. He's good with the zone read. He throws with great timing, great anticipation. He can go through his read progressions. He improvises when the play breaks down, and he's a great passer while improvising. That's one of my favorite things about him is if something's not going right, it doesn't matter. He can take care of it and get a positive play out of nothing. And we saw that big time on his pro day. I mean, he made some awesome throws. And I heard some analysts say this might be the most active quarterback pro day we've seen maybe ever, because they were moving him around and forcing him to be in odd situations with odd arm angles, scrambling to the left, scrambling to the right, and forcing him to make these off the beaten path throws. And he was nailing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched his pro day. I mean, like you said, he had that one throw that was on social media that blew up. Everybody, he was rolling out to his left and threw the ball across his body, I don't know, like 50 yards down the field on the money. So, yeah, I mean, this kid's confident. He's an aggressive passer in my eyes, and he's got a big arm. He can run. I mean, but I guess my only knock on him would be, I mean, he played at BYU, so he didn't play against the best competition. But that doesn't mean he's not going to be good in the NFL. But I don't know, just that transition might be a little bit. It might take him a few weeks to get in the rhythm. But
I think being behind that Jets offensive line will be the biggest problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. So if you're looking at him to go number 2 to the Jets, I mean, at least he can run, because he might need to scramble and make those weird throws just to get the ball out and not get sacked. So we'll see what happens. That's another, that could be a good fit there. I like Fields a little bit more than Wilson, but
and honestly, some people do, but for me, there's a few things when I'm looking at a player, be it, NFL for fantasy or these guys coming out in college, that are really important to me and are what sets certain people apart. Now, Fields, who we'll talk about in a minute, is incredibly athletic.
Yeah.
But more important than that for me is the mental aspect of the game. And Zach Wilson's mental processing is great. Like I said, when he's in the middle of a play, I mean, he can read the defense and know what's coming. And, if he does get tricked, again, he can process that information that's coming at him and still make it happen. Fields, that's not his strong suit. Fields can run a 4.4 40. That's great. But that doesn't help you be a great NFL quarterback. I think Wilson's got it above the shoulders, whereas Fields has it everywhere else. And the above the shoulders for me is much more important than your physical gifts.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I've heard some good things about him. Obviously, everybody's kind of, all over him right now. He looks like he's going to be good, but man, I read something that like he wasn't even voted a captain on the team or something like that and whatnot. So I don't know. I mean, is he a good teammate? Is he too cocky? Or we'll see how he adapts into that NFL locker room as being the guy, you know what I'm saying? The number 2 pick or a top 3 pick. We'll see what happens. I would have just loved to have seen him play against, I don't know, like an Alabama or an LSU or just one of those top teams just to see what that tape would have looked like. You know what I'm saying? Because I watched a few of his games this year, and I think one of the biggest games they played Coastal Carolina and lost. So, I mean, I don't know. Coastal Carolina was ranked this year in the top 25, and BYU flew down to South Carolina to play them, and they ended up losing. I mean, Wilson had a great game, but
I'll tell you what's crazy about Coastal Carolina. That their quarterback coming back is the number one highest rated quarterback in the country returning.
I mean, they're a good team. It's just I would have just loved to have seen him play. I'm saying Fields and Lawrence. I mean, those guys played against Alabama and LSU and all those teams. I would have just liked to have seen that tape, but obviously we're not going to get the chance to do that. So we'll see what he does in the NFL.
Well, why don't you take right into your boy Fields?
Like you said, I mean, I like Fields' fact that I think, to me, he's a big athletic kid. Obviously, he ran the 4.4 today. Looked pretty good in the pro day. I think that was on today. I watched that. That was, it looked like he had some confidence, obviously, and working out with his teammates. I mean, they all were, high-fiving each other and stuff like that. They were all on the same page. So it's hard to tell too, because these pro days are kind of like scripted, like dances. You know what I'm saying? Like these are like 65 throws. That's like a choreographed dance. You know what I'm saying? that you could figure out that they've been working on for 2 months. But everything looked good. I mean, he throws a nice spiral. He's got a big arm. He can run. I don't know. I had him over Wilson, just the fact that he played at Ohio State and he was he won some big games there, and the game against Clemson this year when he had those 6 touchdowns. I mean, he outplayed Trevor Lawrence in that game. And to me, that's kind of when I had him, not putting him over Lawrence, but I mean, that kind of solidified his second place status, I guess, for me this year. I think he might go second. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think he's not going to fall too far after, he's going to be the 3rd or 4th pick, I'm sure, if he falls past 2.
Well, I can tell you if he, starts as quarterback for an NFL team and he's playing a defense, he's not going to see too much man coverage because, like a lot of teams, it's real difficult to play man coverage against Lamar Jackson because guess what happens in man coverage? All your defensive backs, your linebackers on the snap of the ball, they turn their backs and their backs are to you because they're running down the field with the receivers. No one sees you coming. So all he has to do is avoid a little rush, take off down the field, and he's going to smoke you with those legs of his, man. Like 4.4 40, good grief. You don't see that from a quarterback. I mean, almost never. The problem with him, again, up top here, man, between the ears, sometimes he stares his receivers down too long. He's slow. He's really slow to get off his first read. Now, he wasn't asked to do a whole lot of that at Ohio State, which that's a knock in and of itself because he's going to need to do that at the next level. Ohio State, why do they care? What they do wins football games, obviously, and helps their players be successful. Justin Fields was wildly successful at the college level. But he's really good at throwing on the run, and he's really accurate, especially throwing deep. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, along with getting slow off of that first read, he tries to wait for the perfect throw. There are times when you see him, he's got, especially if you watch the all 22 cam, he's got a receiver open. I mean, it's a tight window. Instead of unleashing it, he holds it a little bit longer, and then he'll take off and run or try to get it to somebody else. But those tight windows, those are going to be more similar to what he sees at the next level. I mean, everything in college, it gets smaller. Those windows get smaller. The separation of your receivers and defensive backs, that gets smaller. Just as Hollywood Brown, that dude had like 7 yards of separation between him and the guy with him. And now in the NFL, he's not doing hardly anything. Yeah. Fields has a feel to me as one of those quarterbacks with mouth-watering physical traits. Mm-hmm. But like I said, man, quarterback has so much to do with your mind, being decisive, being quick, and players who don't have that aren't successful. Fields, for me, I look at him. I look at the way he plays. I watch his film. I look at his collegiate stats. Everything compares pretty, in my eyes, pretty comparatively to Marcus Mariota. And look, Marcus Mariota's had a decent career. He's going to be in the NFL for a long time. But I just don't know that if Marcus Mariota is your guy, and he went 2nd overall in his draft. But seeing how his career played out, do you think the Titans would have taken him 2nd overall? I can't imagine that they would have.
Yeah, so, big picture, probably not. Yeah, at this point, they probably wouldn't have. But I mean, with a kid with, I mean, he's got so much potential. I think. I mean, to me, I can see. I don't know. To me, I don't know. He kind of looks like Cam Newton out there. That, I mean, look, he's not. Cam Newton used to be good back in the day. You know what I'm saying? A younger Cam Newton was good, but I don't know. He could be like a Dak Prescott, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Dak's a top 8 guy, so he
All
could
right,
be
so
a better Dak Prescott to me.
and you like guys that compete, right?
Yeah, I like Fields. I like
Right.
Fields. I like guys that compete. Yeah, man. And
Right.
he went out there today and threw at his pro day and ran the
You're right.
40.
Sure did. What happened whenever he went to Georgia?
Yeah, he transferred. Yeah.
Ah, right. Because they had that stud freshman in there, right? Didn't want to
hmm
compete against that guy. So he got out of there and went somewhere else. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not there. There might be a whole lot more to that. I'm just saying he transferred somewhere else to see what he could do there rather than stick
Yeah.
around and
Yeah.
try to beat somebody else out.
Yeah, I forget what man, what did I read? There was a whole thing about that though. He kind of said, I mean, the NCAA makes it too easy for guys to transfer anyway, I think at this point, which in some cases it's warranted, but I think in Fields' case, he came out and said something about, he was being I don't know, racial like discriminated against or something like that and at Georgia and that's kind of how he got out, I guess. I mean, I don't really know the whole story, but if that's the case, I mean, that stinks because, I'm sure he's answering those questions, to the
Oh
NFL
yeah, I'm sure.
executives of why he left Georgia and whatnot, because he's a Georgia kid. I mean, he grew up, went to high school in Georgia. I think him and Trevor Lawrence grew up like 10 miles apart from each other, something like that I saw the other day. And
That's
he's a
wild.
Georgia kid. He went to the University of Georgia for a few years and then he transferred to Ohio State. But I don't know. I like to see him come full circle and go to the Falcons.
All right.
That'd be
Well,
pretty cool to me.
I actually can definitely see that and kind of see, and I believe that's probably what's going to happen, at least as of now, come
Mhm.
April 29th. Next is my third ranked quarterback. Fields is 4 for me, and that's Trey Lance, North Dakota State. Big boy, 6'4, 230. He's big, he's athletic, tons of arm talent. Now, he's probably the most inexperienced of the top four, but he possibly has the highest ceiling. He definitely has work to do. Hopefully, he won't have to start right away. He takes care of the football. A big knock on him. So his 2019 was, I mean, absolutely
Incredible. Yeah.
incredible. But he comes back 2020. They cancel the season. They play one
One
game
game.
against a team. He doesn't have his normal starters with him. He's got a depleted roster. He did not look good. He would be a lot better off if he would not have played that game. He did, so it's a knock, no big deal.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
Daniel Jeremiah said that he took 3 games from Trey Lance, from Fields, from Lawrence, and from Wilson. He watched 3 games from each one, and when he was all finished, Trey Lance was easily the best quarterback in the 3 games that he watched. That includes Trevor Lawrence. But
Mhm.
that's how good he can be. Now, Trevor Lawrence is the number one guy. He's Daniel Jeremiah's number one guy. However, just in that smaller sample size, what I'm saying is Trey Lance has the ability, he has the tools, he has the gifts to make it happen. Plus, everyone raves about his football IQ, how smart he is. And again, I'm telling you, that means a lot to me. So um,
Yeah.
I I I know there's a lot of buzz going on with San Francisco trading up to number 3 and them taking Mac Jones, who we'll talk about next, but I don't see it. I got them slated for Trey Lance with Kyle Shanahan, and I just think his ceiling is way too high for them to pass on.
Did he have his pro day yet, or did he do that yet? I don't know. I haven't watched that one yet, but I'll have to go.
Yeah, yes, he did
He
have
did
his
have
pro.
his. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I think I did see a couple clips, but yeah, I mean, like you said, 2019. So look, I wonder if what if he didn't play that one game this year? I wonder if he would be
Yes,
the locked in as like the number 2
two.
pick. You know what I'm saying? Like if he would be. I mean, look, he's looking at a top 5 pick probably anyway, but
No
I
matter.
wonder if he would have just sat out that one game if he would have just been penciling in right now to the Jets coming off, like you said, of 2019, he had 28 touchdowns with 0 picks. And
Yeah,
again,
but
he's
if,
like, I don't know.
if you're him, I mean, look, he's a competitor, man. He wanted to get out
Yeah.
there. He
I mean,
wanted
yeah,
to,
you can't opt out, but it just sucks that he had to play that one game and then they just canceled the season because he was all in.
I
You
know.
know what I'm saying? Like if they were going to make that decision, just make it, the week before so no games get played. I don't know, but yeah, that kind of. I
Yeah.
mean, that might have
So
cost him a few $1,000,000 in the long run, I guess. But
where's listen, if he turns out to be as good as everyone thinks he can be,
mhm.
then he'll make that couple $1,000,000 back up.
Oh yeah, he'll make it back. But
So where's Lance? So who's your top 4? You got Lawrence as 1, Fields as your 2.
Yeah, then Wilson, and then Lance, and then Mac
Okay,
Jones. Yeah, so
gotcha.
I mean, I guess look, my only knock on him is he has all the skills and he looks the part and he can run as well. I mean, he had 1,100 yards in 2019, so he's a more than capable runner. And I don't think he's going to be running for 1,100 yards in the NFL, but
Right.
he's another guy that can definitely get it done with the feet. But I don't know, man. He's coming from our boy Wentz's North Dakota State, and we saw how that worked. Wentz had a few good years and then kind of fell off. So I don't know. Does that catch up, or is he going to be any different? I don't know. To me, it's just I don't know. I mean, I would.
Well, I don't think it's a stretch to believe that he's probably
Yeah.
little more mentally sound or mentally strong, a little more so than Carson Wentz is.
I wonder if he gets the same treatment. You know what I'm saying? Because you have all these people out here saying, Fields is sliding down the draft because Dwayne Haskins isn't that good, and Ohio State can't put out good quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? And then I
Well, I
wonder,
actually think
I wonder if Trey Lance is answering questions about Carson Wentz and saying, "Hey, you guys came from the same team.
maybe,
What's
but
different?"
I know one thing that scouts love about North Dakota State is their offense. The what they ask their quarterbacks to do
Hmm.
is more closely resembling an NFL team
Yeah,
that what an NFL asks their quarterback to do than
yeah,
any other college. And big D1 schools, I mean, Alabama does not ask their quarterback to do what North Dakota
yeah.
State asks their quarterback to do. I mean, they're basically the assistant coach on the field. I mean, they're making checks, they're reading coverages, they're trying to check out plays and audible and everything at the line. I mean, they're doing it all. They're running the gamut up there at North Dakota State. So I actually think that
Hmm.
helps Trey Lance rather than hurt him, even though Wentz came
Yeah,
from that. And people still love Wentz. People
yeah. People do. I mean,
they just
obviously,
gave up
yeah.
a first round pick for him.
Yeah, I
They
mean North Dakota State, they're a run heavy team. I mean, I look back on it, and Lance in 2019 he only attempted more than 23 passes twice. So I mean, they don't throw the ball a lot, but so that goes to show his accuracy because I mean, when he's throwing the ball and putting up those numbers,
right.
he's completing those passes. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's another guy, like Wilson, who just doesn't have that tape against those top tier teams, which scouts love to compare. But he's a guy you're going to have to take a chance on, I think, with that limited experience. And he has all the tools. It's just whether, to me, it's more of like it's kind of like a fit thing. Whatever, he has to go to the right situation, I think, to be really good early on. And if not, I don't know, it might take him a few years. You know what I'm saying? It might take him a while to catch up. But if he goes to the right team, I think we could see some sparks early on in his career. So we'll just have to wait and find out where he goes.
Well, a guy who did play against a lot of top tier talent, and there might not be a single player in this entire draft whose stock is rising faster than his, and that is Mac Jones, quarterback from Alabama, 6'3",
Mhm.
214 or so. He's accurate. I mean, he is great throwing the ball, precision, timing routes, very, very good. Dude has anchors for feet.
Yeah.
Now he can tear you apart, just like he did uh, Ohio State in the national championship. When he's got a clean pocket and open receivers, it's over. It is over. The problem is Alabama right now as a team has more first round picks on its college team than any NFL team probably does. I mean,
Hmm.
there's probably going to be 6 guys from Alabama just this year going the first round. You'll be hard pressed to find
Yeah.
6 first round picks on any single NFL team. I mean, you have to, really look into that. But I mean, it's crazy
Hmm.
the talent that they have. So he sees clean pockets all of the time. So this past season, per Sports Info Solutions, Mac Jones had only 21 dropbacks in which he eventually left the pocket. So of all of his throws all season, only 21 of them he eventually left the pocket. And all those dropbacks, he completed just 9 of 19 passes for 99 yards. 7 NFL quarterbacks had over 100 of those, and he only had 21. So, man, it's he doesn't he wasn't asked to, he didn't have to, but he he's just not doing what NFL quarterbacks do,
Hmm.
regardless of who he's playing against. He just and he tested well. He ran an okay 40. I think I read somewhere it's faster than Aaron Rodgers 40 and faster than Patrick Mahomes. That's okay, but this dude's not Mahomes. He doesn't do well outside of structure. One thing I love with Zach Wilson is he does fantastic outside of structure when the play breaks down. Mac Jones never had to worry about the play breaking down. You know, he's got Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, 2 first-round picks outside. He's got Najee Harris in the backfield, another first-round pick, and he's got first-round picks blocking for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just I don't see it. And the fact that everyone like who is in the know with San Francisco says, look, Mac Jones
Yeah,
is
I know.
they
I
trade
watched.
up for Mac Jones. I don't get it.
I watched it today, man. So, like you said, with all these guys that are going to get drafted from Alabama, today was their second pro day. So, if I was an NFL scout, you should probably go to the teams that's having a second pro day because they probably have some good players on that squad. So, I'd go check that out if I was an NFL scout. But
and a couple days ago, it came out that Shanahan and
he was there.
It came out a few days ago that they were going to Mac Jones's pro day and not Justin Fields.
Yeah, I watched it today.
Then they had to backpedal and be like, oh, well, we're going to send some representatives there. And then I think Fields came out and said he'll throw at a separate pro day himself so that they can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it could be a smokescreen. They could be like,
I don't know. Yeah.
They take Fields anyway. But good grief. All arrows are pointing to Mac Jones, 3rd overall. And I'm telling you, I will not believe it. I'm not going to believe if it happens. I'm not going to believe it. It might take me till the next Friday of draft weekend before I actually believe it. But if it does, I'm telling you, that is going to throw the whole draft completely out of whack. Every GM in the NFL's phone is going to be blowing up about, oh my gosh, we got Trey Lance left. We got Justin Fields left. We got trades coming in. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, if they do that at 3, that definitely makes, picks 4, 5, and 6 even that more important and worth that much more, in terms of draft capital. So,
and the Dolphins are just laughing it up.
Yeah, man. So to me, the biggest thing here is like, why, if you're the 49ers, why do you have to trade up to 3 in order to draft Mac Jones? I mean, why not? I mean, look, you're not. He looks like he's going to be a decent NFL quarterback. I mean, to me, he gets not like you said. I mean, like I was talking about these other guys not playing against top competition. Well, this guy played with so much good competition. It made him look that much better. Did that make him look that much better? Is he really that good? I don't know. So to me, he gets knocked on because he played for too good of a team almost. You know what I'm saying? So, with the way that the way that Alabama is, I mean, look, Alabama they could almost be an NFL team, but with the guys that they produce. But I don't know. It's hard to tell because, with those receivers that he had and that offensive line and, just the way that defense played and, they always had a solid defense, Alabama. Those guys get pumped out into the drafts too. And, was he just a product of, another guy out there for Nick Saban that's just throwing the ball down the field and, with all these other studs? And is he really that good? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The 49ers gave up a lot to move up to number 3. And I just don't know why they felt like they had to move up to 3 in order to get Mac Jones. I don't know. So to me, it almost seems kind of weird that way, but I don't know. They could have something up their sleeve, but yeah, John Lynch and Shanahan were definitely in the front row of Mac Jones's pro day today. I watched it on NFL Network, and they were pretty much front and center, and they probably showed him 50 different times. And Bill Belichick was back there chumming it up with Nick Saban, and he was there. But the funny thing was, though, Mac Jones threw a pass. Like he threw like I don't know, Devontae Smith. He did run some routes today at the pro day. He didn't run a lot, but I mean, he ran a few. I think Mac Jones missed him on like a 50-yard pass, and they panned it over to, it was Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick sitting there, and Josh McDaniels like kind of said something to Bill Belichick, and Bill just shakes his head like, yeah, he's like, I'm out on this guy. Like after one throw, he just looked like it was the funny. I don't know. I'll have to find the clip or something like that and put it on Facebook. Yeah. But I don't know what they were saying. But I mean, it was right after like an incomplete pass at a pro day, going up against air, and they panned it over to Bill Belichick, and he's just there shaking his head with like the dumbest look on his face. You know what I'm saying? Like he was completely disgusted that he threw an incomplete pass, and he was like, go get the private jet ready. I'm ready to get out of here. We don't need this guy. Like,
well, I'm glad you told me that Devontae Smith was running some routes.
He ran a few. Yeah.
That was really bothering me.
Yeah. He didn't the first day. And then I guess the whole reasoning behind it, was because he couldn't work out the first time. And then Najee Harris had some kind of ankle injury. His ankle was all taped up and whatnot. But Najee Harris, I mean, he was out there running a full wide receiver tree of routes today. I mean, he wasn't just running little flat routes and, catching little screen passes. I mean, he was out there running, the whole route tree, it seemed like. And to me, Devontae Smith probably ran, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 routes out of 60 something passes, maybe. But,
Well,
he just ran straight down the field and caught a couple long passes, and then that was it. But
so tell me what I got 7 guys. I got my top 7 here. How many do you have ranked? Do you have them in order? I just want to compare.
who's that for quarterbacks?
No, I'm sorry, our receivers. I'm sorry, my fault. We were finishing up with Mac Jones and transitioning with Devontae Smith.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, receiver wise, I mean, I have obviously Chase is number one. I don't know. To me, I guess I'm going to go Devontae Smith 2, Waddle 3. I like Elijah Moore. He's probably 4. I like Rondell Moore. And then I like Bateman. I like Rashad Bateman. He's kind of like my sleeper guy, but I don't have him, ranked above Rondell or Elijah Moore. But they would probably be my top 6. And then I guess we'll talk about tight ends coming up here. But
all right. So first off, thank you, because I am a huge Elijah Moore guy, and the fact that you have him at 4,
I like him. Yeah.
Really makes me happy. Now, I have him even higher than you. I have Chase, Waddle, Moore, Elijah Moore. Then I have Devontae Smith as my 4. I have Bateman as my 5. Rondale Moore as my 6, and Kadarius Toney as my 7. Now, I think Jamar. First off, it seems like every wide receiver, just about, is like 5'11" to 6'1", 185 to 205 pounds. I mean, there's so many of them, be it Chase or Waddle or Bateman or Toney. It just seems all of these guys are like, right. There's no Calvin Johnson. There's no 6'3", 6'4", 230, 240 pound guy that's just, dominating everyone. It's these much smaller guys. Now, you said Chase is your 1. Obviously, me too. I mean, he is a top 3 talent maybe in all of the draft. I know a lot of analysts out there have him as a top 3 overall prospect, regardless of position. This guy's 6', 207. He's fast. He's a very good route runner. He is so competitive at the catch. He turns 50-50 balls. They're really like 80-20 balls in his favor. Yeah. He's awesome after the catch. He even blocks pretty well. He does have a smaller sample size. He opted out this year, but people forget that in 2019, our rookie of the year this past year, or I'm sorry, our who we thought may have been last year, Justin Jefferson, who was 3rd in the NFL with 1,400 yards receiving. When they played on the same team with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase was the man.
Yeah, he was the guy.
23 touchdowns, I think, in 2019 with like 1,700 yards, I think. I mean, his stats were ridiculous. He was the man. Justin Jefferson took a back seat to Chase.
Yeah. And that's a big thing. And to me, I think his draft stock, I mean, for him to opt out, I mean, I didn't really like the whole opt out thing, but LSU wasn't good this year. So I think that kind of helped his case, because I don't know if he would have put up those stats this year playing with what they had out on the field. But like you said, when he was playing with Justin Jefferson and you're playing with Joe Burrow, I mean, he was the guy. And when you were watching those games, during that year, I mean, people were talking Jamar Chase, and then they were saying, oh, there's this other guy, Justin Jefferson, who is pretty damn good in the NFL, So it's like, I don't know, man. I think Jamar Chase, he's like you said, he's one of the bigger receivers in this draft. Like, he's 6'2", he's a big physical guy, and he's fast, and he doesn't drop many passes. And man, I just think he's the golden goose for me and as a receiver. And I'd love to have him on the team, on our team, but obviously our Eagles traded back, so that hope is out of the window. I don't think he's going to drop that far.
I'll tell you what,
he's going to be a stud.
Oh my gosh, agreed. With the opt out, one thing that I had mentioned on this show weeks, maybe months ago, was that I wondered if opting out would hurt people's draft stocks, because some teams might look negatively upon that, right? They took a year off. They don't have recent film for them, blah, blah, blah. I heard, I believe it was Tony Pauline, a draft analyst for Pro Football Network, and he had said that he knows people in the Dolphins organization that said the people in their front office are down on players who opted out. So if Chase is sitting there at 6 when the Dolphins pick, and they have another guy that they have similarly ranked and graded, don't be surprised if they don't go Chase at 6 simply because he opted out and they look down on that. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong for NFL teams to do, but it's their prerogative. And the players chose to opt out, for whatever reason, be it health and safety, whatever. That was their choice, and they were absolutely fine to make that. But I thought, again, months, weeks ago, I kind of thought that might hurt some people. And not all teams feel that way, but there are some that do. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, man, I hope, I don't know. I mean, he's going to be a stud, man. And this is another guy. Like our Eagles were sitting there at number 6, man, and we could have had him. We probably could have had him at 6. And it's another guy we're just going to be dreaming of, like Jefferson. So, you can wave goodbye to him. So I hope he doesn't go 6 just because the Eagles traded that pick. I hope he goes before that. So it makes me feel better.
All right. We have to go. We have to move on quickly before you cry on air.
Just another guy we're going to miss on.
We'll go to you. You will go to your number 2, DeVonta Smith. Let's hear it. Tell me why he's your number 2, because it ain't happening for me, homie.
Well, I know you don't like him because he's skinny. He's slim. But look, you just can't. To me, the production on that team, it's just second to none. He had a hell of a year. When you're looking at this past year that he had, and he had a few good years, before that as well. Back when Tua went in to throw that, touchdown in the national championship game like 3 or 4 years ago, that was DeVonta Smith as a young, redshirt freshman or redshirt sophomore or something like that. That was him making that play early on in his career. And, he got better each year. And I don't know, man, what do you have this year? He had 117 grabs, 1,800 yards. 23 touchdowns playing in the SEC against that competition. To me, that has to translate. To me, I just feel like the size could be, could be a knock on him. He does need to, to me, he needs to put on 10 to 15 pounds. If he can, without, completely changing the way he plays. But I don't know, to him to be that slim and his legs, his legs are skinny, man. So he needs to beef those things up. But just the production to me is just off the charts. This guy won every award you could think of. This dude, besides he won, he won the Heisman. He won the Maxwell Award. He won the Maxwell, the Walter Camp. He won every award, Blitnikoff. I don't know. He had a good 4-year career. And to me, he got better every year. And man, and it's sad to see. He got hurt in that Ohio State game this year. He had 12 for 215 and 3 touchdowns at halftime, and then he got hurt. So, I would have loved to have seen what that stat line would have been in that national championship game if he would have played all 4 quarters. But, to me, the production's there on the field, and I just don't see. He has to go to the right. He has to be in a right fit. But to me, he's my second guy. I like him at number 2 behind Chase. He's pretty. To me, Chase is kind of far ahead, just like Lawrence is at QB. But to me, DeVonta is my 2.
But you're 100% accurate on your assessment of his production. He has the 6th most receiving yards in a single season of all time. 1856 was how many he had last year.
Yeah.
And you could make an argument that he is the best route runner in the draft. And that is important, which is why I didn't drop him lower than 4. And there's a lot of hate on Twitter about people who are downgrading him because of his size and his stature. But when is the last time there has been a stud wide receiver worth a top 10 pick in the draft at under 175 pounds? And, Cole Beasley he has 3,000 career receiving yards and he's under $180.
Yeah.
And that's the most of all time, I believe. Now, you don't quote me on that, but Cole Beasley, okay, at a receiver of under.
What about
180?
Deshaun's got to have some damn. What's Cole Beasley?
Again,
yeah, I don't know. Deshaun's got to be up there too, but
I have to look it up. And maybe under 170 pounds. I don't exactly. But what I'm saying is, you're small. If Now Beasley's shorter as well.
Yeah.
And Devontae Smith is like 6'6", but we don't really know because I'm pretty sure he refused to get measured. And that's another thing, another knock on him is if I'm a player and I know that there are certain knocks on me coming out, I want to put those fears to rest. Or I want to at least own them and say, yeah, you know what? I weigh 169 pounds, soaking wet. Here I am, but I'm great. Then do that. But the fact that you hide from it and run from it. Now, again, maybe he got weighed today. I don't know.
I didn't hear
If he
anything
did,
about it. I'm not sure, but I know he
great.
ran some, but
Come on, man. Don't
yeah.
hide from it. Either prove us wrong or own it. One of the two. That really, really bothers me. And he's going to be going up against. Now he went up against good competition in the SEC, but the best players he went up against are going to be some of the worst players he goes up against week after week after week in the NFL. SEC is good, but it's not NFL good. So he's going to get bumped around. I mean, think about if he goes out there against Stephon Gilmore and Stephon Gilmore decides to play press man. Sorry, Devontae, you're not off the line.
I'm sure he practiced against Patrick Surtain every day. So I mean,
and he does play bigger than his size. Mm-hmm. Like watching him out there, you don't always think, oh man, this guy is tiny, but I can't get behind him. Now I think he's a great receiver, and I really like him. I just don't like him in the top 15 picks or so. I need somebody else. I need a solid receiver, some guy not worried about getting hurt. Go right into his teammate, Jalen Waddle. Waddle's my second highest receiver. He's shorter at 5'10", but the dude's like $185. He's stout. He's sturdy. And that guy can play anywhere. Fry him up in the backfield, put him in a slot, put him out wide. He's probably faster than Devontae Smith. He's great with the football in his hands. And he can return. Put him out there on punt return. Put him on kick return. Waddle, if I had to pick between them both, Waddle's my guy.
I like Waddle too. I mean, he had a bad injury this year. I mean, he snapped his leg. He came back. Yeah. I mean, so that shows he put the work in to come back and, to get out there during that national championship game. So hats off to him for that. And I don't know, to me, he just, when I watch Alabama, he looks like Henry Ruggs to me. I don't know why. And
Waddle does?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they just look similar in the way, they're both speed guys, and Henry Ruggs hasn't really worked out so far in the NFL. So to me, they're super similar players, but obviously those guys get taken early. I mean, teams fall in love with speed, and they fall in love with guys like Henry Ruggs and Jalen Waddle. So
sure do.
He's going to go in the top 12, I'm sure. Maybe, definitely the top 15, I think. So, but yeah, another guy comes from Alabama, and they just pump out receivers. Every year I feel like there's two guys from Alabama that come out and go in the first round. So he's just another one on the list, and I don't know. We'll see what kind of fit he goes into. I don't know. I mean, to the right team and to a team with, maybe a solidified number one guy, he could produce in his rookie year, maybe. But I don't know. To me, he just looks. They have so much similarity to Henry Ruggs when they're out there on the field, and they're both from Alabama, and I don't know.
And that's a very underrated thing is the fit for players. Yeah. That matters a lot of times more than anything. So fit is very.
Yeah, I mean, look, if he goes to say, I'm saying like if Jalen Waddle, if like the Packers moved up, you know what I'm saying, and Jalen Waddle was on the Packers, and he's got Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and yeah, obviously Jalen Waddle is going to produce in that system. But if Jalen Waddle gets picked by the Detroit Lions, I mean, is he going to be good on the Detroit Lions with Goff and?
You don't like Jared Goff?
No, I mean, I don't think his own teammates didn't like him, but who was the dude that got traded? I don't know. We put it on our Facebook page, but that was a pretty funny. Yeah. That was a funny damn story. Now, I'm not in love with Goff, but yeah, like the fit. I mean, it all depends on where he goes to me for his success early on in his career. Because after he becomes a rookie, obviously these guys, once they become free agents, they can pick and choose where they want to go. So he can put himself in a better situation off of his rookie contract, but.
That's years and years down the road.
Yeah, that's 4 and 5 years down the road. So we'll see. We'll see where he goes.
One guy, another smaller receiver, but one that I love and one of my favorite players in the entire draft. My number 3 rated receiver, Elijah Moore. Well, he's 5'9", like 178.
Yeah.
Well, why do you like him, but you don't like Devontae Smith. Well, Elijah Moore's not going to go in the top 10 picks. He's not going to go in the top 15 picks. And Elijah Moore, this dude is fearless. He'll hop on that scale. He's not worried about that. He'll catch passes at everybody's pro day if you let him. This dude loves to compete. And I'm telling you, watch this guy's film. He's going to be a slot receiver in the NFL, most likely. Mm-hmm. He runs across the middle, catches the ball out away from his body with his hands, no double grabbing. I mean, linebackers everywhere, safeties everywhere. The dude doesn't care. He catches the ball cleanly. And when he does, he goes. He's so good after the catch. He's so agile. He's quick. Man, just watch this guy run routes. He's so decisive in his breaks.
Yeah, he's a tough kid, man.
Yes, I love watching him. Now, he's got to improve his blocking. Again, he's smaller, so that's going to be tough at the NFL level. But he ran a 4.35 40. He had a 4 flat short shuttle. So not only is he fast in a straight line, that dude can move. He ran a 6.65 3-cone drill. Mm-hmm. Ooh, this guy. Yeah, man, I loved him before his pro day. And afterwards, I am infatuated with him because he just proved that what you see on film is exactly who he is, no matter whether he's in shorts, pads, doesn't matter. This guy is an awesome football player.
Yeah, he's not a big kid, but look, he played in the SEC, and this guy, when you watched Ole Miss play, I mean, this kid, he's tough, like you said, and he's going to be a slot receiver in the NFL. I mean, he was the most productive, I think, receiver in college football last year. I mean, he led the nation in receiving yards per game, and not on a great team. I mean, look, Ole Miss wasn't a great team. They're in the SEC, but he wasn't playing alongside of Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle and, Najee Harris. He didn't have that talent on Ole Miss. I mean, they have some good players, but, they're not top of the line SEC. And he produced, this year he had, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 86 catches. I mean, that's good. And he's a tough kid. And I thought, watching him on the field, I wouldn't have thought he would have ran a 4.35. I knew he was fast, but, after the pro day, obviously, once you see those numbers, but I didn't think it was that fast. Yeah.
4.5, I'd have believed it. And that's moving. That's all he needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he gets separation and he's going to be a slot receiver. And like you said, he can change gears. I mean, he can.
His double move is nasty. If they put him on the outside and let him run some double moves, he had some DBs, SEC DBs, just looking silly.
He's a guy that I'm excited to see where he goes because, we keep talking about the fit. I would love – that team that I just brought up, the Packers, they get him at the end of the first round if he could last or if they can move up. I don't know. I think he'll be there in that range.
Yes.
And just imagine if they finally can do something to help Aaron Rodgers and they get him a guy like that, alongside of Devontae Adams. And, to me, that would be, he could be a sleeper for fantasy and obviously maybe of a, I don't know, could be a rookie of the year contender. We'll see. If he was on a team like that, possibly, but we'll see. Now, I don't know about with Trevor Lawrence and all that, but he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a stud. And I think he's not a huge name. If you were to ask an average, your average NFL or, person that watches the NFL, they probably have no idea who this kid is. They probably haven't even really heard of him yet, but I think he's got a good chance to be pretty good in the NFL as a slot receiver. So I'm excited to see where he goes.
He might not even be the most famous Moore in the draft.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because another one of these receivers, Rondale Moore from Purdue, you want to talk about little. 5'7", 5'7", 180 though. Dude is like a short AJ Brown. 4.29 40 with a 42.5-inch vertical. This guy is explosive. And please watch his freshman tape. That's the best tape he's got. As a freshman, Purdue actually used him. And, he made guys look silly out there on the field. 18-year-old freshman coming in there and dominating his competition.
It's tough.
Then he has like a year or two where he's injured constantly, and that's his big thing. Is he healthy now? Is he going to stay healthy? Maybe his size is hurting him. Maybe that's why he's getting so hurt. Maybe he's too athletic. His body can't keep up. I don't know. Yeah. But this guy is so nasty. And if he can now this year, basically all Purdue did was, hey, run screens and we're just going to like pitch you the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and you have to do something. He didn't even hardly run any routes this year, like real routes. So it was tough to get anything from film this year. But I'm telling you, if you look at if you take like every single player in the draft's top 5 plays of their collegiate career, he's probably the number 1 player in the draft if you just do that.
Yeah, he's exciting. I mean,
and he's another guy. You put this guy with put him on Kansas City or something like that. Oh man, fireworks.
Oh yeah, man. Like you said, as an 18-year-old kid, he rolls into the Big Ten and has 114 catches and 1,300 yards. You know what I'm saying? And 12 touchdowns. That's tough to do. I mean, Big Ten, they're known for they play a little bit of defense in the Big Ten now. They recruit some defensive players, not like, the Pac-12 and some of these other conferences. So, for him to do that at that size, I guess, he can do it. It's just, yeah, I mean, the latter half of his career at Purdue, I think he's, like you said, he was hurt. I think he had hamstring injury. And I don't know, he had that hamstring injury. I think he missed like 8 or 9 games, I think, and his sophomore year. And yeah, like you said, this year, when you watch Purdue this year, it's almost seemed like they were just trying to, because Purdue was they're kind of bottom feeders of the Big Ten, I guess, at this point now, but they were just forcing ways to try to get him the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the playmaker, and they just didn't have that talent around him. So it was just like, I'm going to throw you a screen pass, or we're going to run you're going to come motion into the backfield and run the ball. So to me, this past year wasn't the best tape to look at him, but man, he's another small guy, short guy. He's probably the shortest of this receiver core, these receivers, he's 5'7", $180 maybe. That might be, that might be being generous, but he's a playmaker. And yeah, man, if he falls on, a team like Kansas City, and man, yeah, it all depends on where he goes, but I think he can make some noise in the NFL. Maybe earlier on, maybe more special teams wise, what I'm saying? Maybe more as a returner, punt returner, kick returner. Maybe he can make his way in there and work his way into the wide receiver rotation, but see where he goes. I'm not sure if he's going to go in the first round. I guess he could. He has a chance, but, there is also a chance, he could slide into the second round. So we'll see what happens.
He's probably going to be in the second round if I had to guess. But I think he has a better chance of making it in the first round than Kadarius Toney, who is another guy. He's like my 7th, but I don't want to talk about him. I do want to touch on one more receiver before we go, and that's Rashad Bateman. Just hit on him real quick because I think he's got a shot to go in the first round. He's one of the bigger guys, 6'2", 210-ish, and he runs good routes as well. Very competitive. I mean, if the ball's up in the air, this guy's really going to fight for it. He's really good at finding zones, holes in the zones for defenses. But for me, he's very similar to Corey Davis. I mean, he's similar size. I actually have the Rashad Bateman in my first mock draft that I think it's going to be come out maybe 2 weeks from now. So it could change, but as of right now, I have him mocked to the Titans because I think it's just out goes Corey Davis, in comes Rashad Bateman. They don't really miss a beat there, but Bateman might be a little better than Corey Davis. Actually, it took Corey Davis a few years to get rolling, but we'll see. He kind of does a lot of little things well. He doesn't excite me too much, but he could have a solid career. Again,
I like Corey Bateman. Davis. Yeah, I do like Bateman. He's a big physical kid. Another kid played in the Big Ten and put up some good stats. I mean, I think he averaged almost 21 yards of reception, I think, in 2019. 1,200 yards, 11 TDs in 13 games. On a Minnesota team who doesn't really, produce top level QB talent. So he's not playing with the best, guys around him, but he produced. And, I think he has got a good shot to sneak into the first round for sure. I like him too. Yeah. Cause like you said, he is one of the bigger receivers, I guess you can find this year in the draft. And he's pretty physical. He's a physical kid too, as well. And, he's just a big kid. And to me, he can run all the routes and, he can control his body, I think. And, I think he's got some quick feet, and I think he's got a chance to be pretty good. So I like Rashad Bateman. I do like him.
Like I said, I mean, as of now, I have him
to the Titans
mocked in the first round. Yeah.
So where
we'll see.
The Titans are picking. Where are they picking? They're picking what?
Titans 22, I believe.
22, yeah. So that would be a good fit. Yeah, he compares to Corey Davis. Like you said, it took Corey Davis a couple of years to kind of, be a factor in the NFL. But maybe it could be pretty good. That could be a good fit.
Last position we're covering here, the tight end. There's only two guys really to talk about. Honestly, there's really only one guy. I have written down here, Kyle Pitts is the first, second, and third best tight end in this draft class.
Mhm.
There's really, I mean, we got Pat Fryermuth, which maybe we should talk about first, from Penn State. Big
All right.
dude, 6'5", 250, prototypical size, what you're looking for in a tight end. He's a decent blocker. He needs to be better, honestly. For his size, he should be better. Shoulder injury needs to be checked out, but he's got nice hands. He's athletic. Yeah, I think he'll be a solid player. I'm not sure how exciting he'll be, but you get a tight end needy team. The Jaguars, I've seen him mocked to them sometimes in the first round. If I'm Jacksonville, I'm waiting. They pick early in the second round, so I'd probably go there if I really wanted him. But I don't know. Does he excite you? Pick. I know you're a Penn State guy, but
yeah, I mean, I like guy. I'm not a. I follow Penn State a little bit, and he doesn't move the needle for you. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really do anything off the charts, but he'll be I think he'll be a pretty decent tight end in the NFL. But it's kind of tough to compare him in this year when you got Kyle Pitts, who's kind of not like a guy that not that you've ever seen, but I don't know. He's one of those guys that's like super athletic that, there's not many guys that compare to him in the NFL. I mean, maybe like a Darren Waller or somebody like that. But so, yeah, I mean, to compare, it's not really fair. Yeah, I mean,
two completely different players, completely different.
Yeah, but I think Fryermuth he'll be a solid player in the NFL. But I think Gesicki is another guy from Penn State that is on the Dolphins who showed, I think he can be a guy like that. I mean, Gesicki showed some signs, and I think he's been stepping it up a little bit for the Dolphins. I think he's going to have a better year this year. So I think Fryermuth can kind of compare to maybe Gesicki, I guess, somebody like that in the NFL early on.
I mean, Fryermuth isn't as athletic as Gesicki. I mean, Gesicki's got like slam dunk competition videos out there and stuff like that. And that's not Fryermuth's game. Now, Kyle Pitts, 6'6", 240. You mentioned a Darren Waller comp, and that's really the only comp I think there is out there. But he's a more athletic Darren Waller.
Yeah.
You could argue that Pitts is the most intriguing prospect in the draft. He can block. No one's going to ask him to block. He can. He's okay at it if they need him to. But I mean, he made SEC. You talk about competition. He made SEC defensive backs look like Division II defensive backs. It didn't matter who they put on him. No one could cover him. He's too big for corners. He's too fast for linebackers. He ran a 4.46. I mean, he is some people, when you're looking at most people's analysts and, guys out there that this is their life, Kyle Pitts is always a top 3 talent overall from anyone coming out. And he's usually the number 1 talent, not a quarterback. It's usually Trevor Lawrence, Kyle Pitts, bang, bang. And some people might even have Kyle Pitts as a more intriguing prospect than even Trevor Lawrence, simply because what he is at the position he plays, if that makes sense. Kyle Pitts is unreal.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's hard to compare. This guy's like he's a unicorn, man. There ain't nothing, there's nobody, there's nothing, you know what I'm saying? He's like you can't, there's nothing like him. So, I mean, I read earlier, when I was doing my breakdown on him and stuff like that, he was the first tight end to ever be named a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award, which goes to the best receiver in college football. And I think he was the first tight end to finish in the top 10 in the Heisman voting in like the past 50 years. So, he's hard to put a finger on what he's going to do in the NFL. I mean, to me, he's a receiver. I mean, I guess you can call him a tight end, but I mean,
he's going top 10.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested to see where he goes because somebody's going to get a steal. I mean, wherever he goes, I mean, you're talking about top tier value at the pick that he's going to go to. I mean, to me, he's going to be the biggest value pick. I mean, because they're talking about now. I mean, the top 5 picks are going to be the quarterbacks. I mean,
so I'm saying if he's a top 3 player, a top 2 player, and the top 4 or 5 picks are quarterbacks, value right there, boom, right up.
Because I mean, they're saying, I mean, anything you watch ESPN and you're watching, NFL Network, they're saying it's Lawrence, and then it's Lawrence, Wilson, or maybe Mac Jones, Fields. I don't know, man. Chase might be in there, so it's like, where does he go? Where is he gonna? He's gonna be in the top 10, and man, I don't know. I'm interested to see where he goes. I just hope he doesn't go to like the Lions will probably take him or something like that. And he'll never live up to his full potential, but we'll see. I don't know.
All right, man. That was so much fun for me. Hopefully, we enlightened a lot of folks out there as to who these people are. The names are going to hear in a few weeks. And next week, I can't wait to come back. Who are we doing next week? We got running backs, O line, and D line. Is that right? Is that what
Yeah,
we're
I
doing
think
next week?
so. Yeah, we're going to finish up the offense, I guess, and do running backs, offensive line, and then roll into the defense, start breaking down some of these defensive guys.
Sounds awesome.
We'll have to combine some of that stuff because offensive linemen, there's not a whole lot of stats to throw out there with these guys besides how big they are. And
but there's a lot of them, man.
There is. That's what I'm saying.
Once we get past the top 2 or 3, you could shuffle the next 5 basically in any order.
There's a handful of them this year. So yeah, we'll touch on all them guys and roll into the defense.
Yep. Make sure you check out our folks at www.thediaperdust.com and send us out of here, bud.
Yeah, man. Check us out on Facebook. We post the videos. We have shout out to the guy who makes our videos. What's his name again?
Travis Such.
Yeah, that's not me and Bobby's creative genius on that one. We send him the video and our man Travis does that for us. So appreciate him doing that. That'll be on Facebook come Wednesday, Thursday, and check us out, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you want to find us. Tell all your friends about us. Tell them to listen to us. Maybe we'll hit on some of these, on some of these picks, and we'll get some followers.
Right. Twitter at rwall16, RWAUGH16.
Yep. Tweet any questions or, right on the Facebook, man. Any questions you got, any kind of debate anybody wants to get into, we'll keep it all in good fun. And, I like going back and forth on Facebook and, sharing opinions and whatnot. So yeah, that's been fun and keep that up. It's a good time of year to have it because we got the draft coming up. So it's a fun time of year. I love it. And, we'll be back next week breaking down another couple positions.
Thanks for listening and watching. See you in a week.
All right. Check everybody out next week.